Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down and back in for a little bit more Spooktober action. We're wrapping up a little Jordan Peele day. We had a little bit of a trip up the other day, and I missed getting a review up, and now we've been playing catch up like the last 2 days. Hopefully, we'll get both of these up. It'll probably be around midnight by the time most of you are watching these, if you're watching them right after. But nevertheless, we got 2 Jordan Peele movies to talk about today, and as you can see with the list in front of you, we've had a real nice mix of movies all month, and continuing to come all month long in the realm of scary, horror, Halloween type movies. We're watching and reviewing one every day this month, or at least close to every day. There'll be at least a review for every day if they don't happen on the day themselves. And like I said, we've got a nice mix. We just came off a run of classic horror characters coming out of the 70s, 80s, early 90s. And now we've kind of transitioned into this more highbrow look at horror that Jordan Peele certainly played a hand in with Get Out and this movie. One of my all-time faves immediately. Oh, there's so much in this movie. So why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in to Us. And I'm going to try to keep this one brief. If you want to really know my thoughts on Us, I suggest going down below into the description and checking out the 2 links I have there. I have my non-spoiler review where I really just talk about the filmmaking and the characters and the acting, and the spoiler review, which dives into the content, what actually happens, the story, what Peele is doing with the writing, and different concepts and things that he throws in our faces, where it's like, this movie's a big old mystery. He throws all the answers at you in the first 10 minutes. And if you want to know all of that stuff, check those 2 videos out. I think there's almost 90 plus minutes of content there of me just talking about Us. I saw this movie 5 times the first 7 days and just fell in love immediately. Like I said, I love Get Out. And in rewatching it, I kind of forgot how freaking good that movie is. And like I said for that review, depending on the day, some days Get Out's the one I like more, some days it's Us. But from the filmmaking standpoint, did Jordan Peele level up? I don't know if he was holding back something. I mean, he doesn't hold back writing and conceptually at all, but the amount of little tiny details he lays in throughout all of Us, where I think Get Out's a little bit less of a complex movie, a little bit more straightforward to a degree. The complexity of what's going on with Us, the filmmaking is just masterful, man. I mean, he's putting on a clinic, and he, like I said, crafts a movie that has a really big mystery. And when you go back and you rewatch this movie, that whole mystery is pretty much revealed to you in the opening 5 minutes. I mean, the first frame of the movie, man, it's a TV. You got shelves next to it with VHSs, and there's some toys and some books and stuff. But just in that frame, if you look at the VHSs that are there, kind of gives you the idea of where they're going, with all these tunnels and things and different ideas that are in the movie that kind of would be influenced. He basically puts the movies that influence him right in front of you, that kind of give you an idea of what the movie could be structure-wise. And then with what you see on the screen in the TV, we get the news, followed by a commercial for Hands Across America, which is the charity that is featured somewhat prominently to a degree in the movie, which, a lot of this movie is talking about what America is and the duality and the 2 faces of America. And Hands Across America is really the good part of America, what we sell the world, how we're really good people and we do these great things. But in reality, Hands Across America didn't really work that well. And then the next commercial is for Santa Cruz, where you see a lot of good-looking, attractive, oiled up white people on the beach having a good time, drinking beers and running around, and it's the what's on the surface, and then the sex that sells America, or that fuels America. And you get all that in the opening couple minutes, and then that opening scene really sets the whole movie out right in front of you. I mean, he throws things in your face that give you answers to things later on, and that's the type of craftsmanship and filmmaking we get the whole movie. The storytelling is genius. Again, it's a really, really good script that allows Peele to go to a lot of different places, but also allows there to be interpretation for viewers that can take you even different places than maybe what his intention was. And it's all really, again, really, really smart. I mean, this is a very smart movie, especially the more you watch it and dive into it. And then, like I said, like the filmmaking stuff, man, the camera work in these movies, like his vision is just so crystal clear, so identifiable. And this movie, even more so than Get Out, both I thought have really good soundtracks. I think Get Out's is a little bit better, and the soundtrack plays a little bit more into the movie. Both have really good scores. Get Out, pretty solid. Us, some of the best horror scoring I've heard or seen in a movie in quite some time, man. Like it's the type of score that makes the hair on your arms and neck stand up, and it plays into like the way people move and the sound effects. The sound mixing in general in this movie is amazing. But when you have all those things at play and the imagery and the things that are going on in the background, there are so many hints and clues to things going on all around the world. It really is just a masterclass in filmmaking and storytelling. And on top of it just being a story and a movie that's super intriguing, right? The idea of this duality of America and these two faces of America, and then reflecting that through, these doppelganger versions of people, having two of the same people for everything, and how that plays into the sci-fi elements of the movie, and what was being done in all of these tunnels out of that. Like he opens the movie with, there are thousands and thousands of miles of tunnels just under America, from like abandoned train tracks to things that we just don't know. Utilizing stuff like that that's real world, applying it into this horror concept. He creates just imagery and storytelling that's really interesting. And like, what is the deal with like, why are there these doppelgangers? Who are the tethered? And just like I said, the hints and clues, it's just wonderful. And then when you look at the acting, it's superb. I mean, Lupita Nyong'o was robbed when this movie came out because it was so early in the year. She should have gotten a nomination. It's still, for me, my favorite piece of acting from 2019. What she does as Adelaide and Red, spectacular. I mean, she is legitimately two different people in the movie. Like, everybody in the film has a doppelganger. Everybody gets to play two versions of themselves. But nobody does it in a way that's so drastically different than Lupita's character. And the way in which she speaks, I don't want to spoil anything too much. So the way Red speaks, and what's given to us in the movie, the way Red speaks is haunting, chilling, terrifying stuff. And it's like almost the struggle to speak. Like, she hasn't spoken in so long, and now I'm speaking. It is like, it's woo! And it's so the opposite of what Adelaide is. And the way she can play with those two characters, and then just the delivery, very much like Daniel Kaluuya, just able to roll that one tear when Red is telling her story. And Adelaide obviously knows what's going on with that story to a degree based on what happened in the haunted house when she was a kid. But the way she's just kind of locked and frozen, and like you see, dude, that, like, again, very much like Kaluuya, just phenomenal stuff from Nyong'o. And then the whole cast behind her is tremendous. Winston Duke, coming off of Black Panther, you think he's this big, huge, tough guy, and his tethered version is certainly that. Abraham is a scary mofo. But Gabe Wilson, our main character, not what you'd expect, man. When he opens his mouth and starts talking, it sounds like a nerdy dude. Throws you off. And then his actions, like, he's not a tough guy. When he goes out and tries to be tough with, like, the baseball bat, and he's like, if there's a problem, we gonna take care of it. And you're like, this is a dude who does not know what he's doing. He's trying to act scary. And the way he's able to play those two characters, specifically Gabe, Abraham feels like what we would expect to a degree from what could come from Winston Duke. Gabe is not, and Gabe is phenomenal. Kind of one half of the comedic relief that's in this movie to cut the supreme tension that Peele is able to pull in these movies. But Duke is wonderful. Their kids, played by Shahadi Wright Joseph and Evan Alex. You got Zora and Jason and their tethered doppels, Umbre and Pluto. Sweet looking kids at the beginning of the movie. Terrifying tethered versions of them, man. Like, they are hardcore creepy kids. And the stuff with Pluto, man, they really play with the mirror image stuff with them. Produces some of the most chilling and scariest imagery. And then there's just something about Umbre that freaks me out. And same thing, like Zora is this, runner who's like, school's over, I'm just focused on like my friends, my phone, headphones are always in. And Umbre is like, I ain't never had none of that. And I am freaking great. Like, I love watching them go toe to toe. And I think the kids, for the most part, do a really, really solid job. But the other people that really pop in this one for me are Elizabeth Moss and Tim Heidecker. They play friends of Gabe's who are, vacationing in Santa Cruz, which isn't too far from where they're staying in California for their vacation. So they go down to Santa Cruz to hang with them. And Elizabeth Moss, you know me, I love her. She's spectacular. She has one of the most harrowing moments in the whole movie, man, when she starts cutting open her face and her swing on the doppels. Like, she plays like rich bitch perfectly for Kitty Tyler. But when she's playing Dahlia, outside Lupita, probably the scariest person in the whole freaking movie. And same way, the swings in character for her are just wonderful to watch. And then Tim Heidecker is the other half of that comedic relief, man. He's really quite funny. I love the interactions between his Josh Tyler and his doppelganger, Tethered Tex. And he just provides wonderful moments. And then they have twin girls played by Callie and Noelle Sheldon, Becca and Lindsay, and their doppels, Io and Nix. And the kids, they come off like, spoiled brats, which is, I think, what they're supposed to do. But they're tethered, have some of the most interesting movements in the movie, and some of, like, the scariest, like, jump moments. And that whole scene that takes place in their house that they're at for their vacation, this, like, really, really nice, like, glass wall type houses, is one of the craziest, funnest stretches of the movie. And everybody that shows up just does a really good job. I mean, Anna Diop and Yaha Abdul Mateen are in this movie. They play Adelaide's parents at the very, very opening. They do a wonderful job with very, very little, the least amount of everybody in the movie, but like really impactful stuff. Things we're able to pick up just on like conversational and like quick beats with them. And everyone that shows up to play. And that seems to be one of the keys to Jordan Peele is he's a master craftsman behind the camera and behind the pen. But he develops material and gets actors that deliver that stuff so it is executed on the level that makes the movie pop the way it does. And from scoring to filmmaking to acting, Us, for me, is just a masterclass across the board. And again, a really fun story, man. Like, I didn't even really get into the story because it's hard to explain without deep diving. So if you want to know all my thoughts on the story and everything that went into that and why that's so genius, make sure you check out my non-spoiler and spoiler reviews from when the movie first came out down below in the description. But now it's your turn, man. I want to know what you're thinking about Us and Jordan Peele. What do you think of him as a filmmaker? Do you get excited for his films? Do you like the way that he takes real life horror, specifically from the Black perspective, and applies them into these horror movies that fit genre, beats and moments, but plays with like movie horror and real horror in ways that I think personally pop in awesome ways. So do those work for you as well? What do you think of the performances and the actors that he's been getting? Specifically Lupita, you think she was robbed of an Oscar nominee in 2019? Anything you're thinking, good, bad, indifferent about Us, down below in the comments section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man, show a little love support, want to hang with the rest of the C-Maniac Nation, jump over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Mans, Cinema Sit Down, I'm the C-Man, I'm signing off. Peace. Well, you guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry, C-Man's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the C-Man goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.